Hey, welcome back. This is That Yogi Guy, and I have another great question here from Tony. And he says, "Thank you again for your site and sharing of knowledge. It has been incredibly beneficial. I have taken what you said based on your last emails and the answers you posted and given it several weeks practice. I found several new questions have entered my mind, and maybe you can offer your opinion. Feeling the breath states has gotten much easier. I seem to find either the double breathing or Hong Sa is really what helps me move up through the breath states. My initial Kriya practice gets me through the first and second state, but Hong Sa has been consistently what carried me up further. Two questions have now been introduced in my mind since I've started feeling the breath states more and more. Number one, now my mind keeps asking, what next? What now? In in response to the breath state, okay, I'm at number 5. What now? What is supposed to happen here? I feel the answer is nothing should happen, but an awareness of being there. However, it seems my mind consistently will not let go of this. Okay, what next? Feeling. It seems as if now that there is a way to measure, it becomes a goal to get to the top. Okay, I'm going to answer that. This is great. Number 2, this has led me to also wonder about my progress in letting go, and the more these thoughts enter, the less my mind can let go while in meditation. After pranayama, with these thoughts, I just cannot seem to find stillness in meditation. Before all this, everything would just seem to let go. I'm usually an analytical person, and I feel this is my mind finding a way to grasp onto something and try and analyze when it certainly does not need to be. And instead of falling into peacefulness, it's turned into a hurdle. Do you have any advice? Thank you so much. It's really great to know that I have somewhere to ask these questions. Yoga is quite a unique path to walk alone. Tony, this is fantastic. And this is really interesting because and you're right in the middle of all the questions that you need to be asking. And for instance, one of the questions is, well, why did one technique work better than another, right? And it's probably because you're more comfortable with one technique over the other. Because just about any technique will put you through the breath states. Any good technique, any good pranayama technique will put you through the breath states. So if one is working better, you might have an affinity for that one, or you're just more familiar with that one. You mentioned it was just your initial practice with Kriya that you didn't go as far. So, as you get more and more familiar and comfortable with Kriya Yoga technique, then it may become easier and easier. You may actually prove to be faster. And as you get more comfortable with the breath states, more familiar, what you'll find is that or at least what I have found is that I will skip breath states. So it used to be when I really just started and I really started to nail down which feeling was what breath state, right? Because first you got to figure all that out. It's something totally new. I'm feeling states inside my nose. It's totally different, right? It's where is this coming from? So it's really neat. It's really interesting process. So, but first it would take, I would do Hong Sa or I would do Kriya Yoga, and I would do several sets before I would move to the next breath state. And as I got more and more comfortable and excited with the breath states, I noticed that I started jumping. So I would go from, like, say, the first breath state to the third breath state, and then finally I would jump. I would do another set, and I would jump to the fifth breath state. So it would just go really fast. Okay, so to answer, so that's something to think about, is that it becomes more and more dynamic, and your practice of the different techniques will become more and more dynamic. So it's a great tool to help whatever pranayama technique that you're working on. What's next? Once you reach the top, once you reach the fifth breath state, as I mentioned in my book, there are finer sensations, but they're not worth describing because they're very subtle. And it's probably going to be different for each person. So my source is Yogananda, and Yogananda did not mention uh, any further sensations. And so I don't bother to either, because they might just be particular to me. But here's the thing. Once you reach the top, you know that you did so many sets of whatever tool you were using, whatever pranayama technique. So let's say you did Hong Sa for 5 minutes, right? And then you checked your breath state, and then you did Hong Sa for 5 minutes, and then you checked your breath state, right? So that I would consider that one set, 5 minutes, right? So do 5 more minutes, and however many times it took you to get to the next breath state, okay? So I would do that several times. You reach the top, and then just do several more sets until you start to get the feeling that something has changed again in your breath state. And now you know that you've gone farther, right? Because the breath state, the description of the breath states stops at the throat cerebrospinal center. So if you do several more sets, then you know that you're somewhere closer to the spiritual eye. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for an experience of the spiritual eye. Whether we can see it, or whether we can just feel it, or whether we reach it through going to the throat breath state and then going farther and just assuming that we must be at the spiritual eye through more meditation. Now, what do you do after that? And this ties into something that Leslie emailed me about my book, and how it gets progressively more complex in my book. It starts off very simple, and it progressively gets a little more complex. But really, essentially, my book is about 3 lists. And those 3 lists are the Eightfold Path, which is essential. So we should memorize that. The second list is the breath states, which are essential in my mind because they are such a powerful tool. So why wouldn't you put them in your toolbox and run like hell with them? and number 3, the stages of sense reversal. So I've given you the 3 greatest set of maps that are out there. These are fantastic, and you put those 3 together. Okay, you put those 3 lists together and it's magical. And then there's the 4th thing, which is letting go. So that's a skill. That's not a list. It's just a very, very essential skill to all of this ability to let go. So once you've finished with the breath states list, you can begin to move on to the stages of sense reversal list. So you finished your work with the breath states, right? You feel that you are close, you are at or very close to the spiritual eye. Perhaps you may even begin to see the spiritual eye, because working with the breath states is going to sensitize you to your own experience in meditation and your own body, which also helps you put you in tune with your own energetic body. So we're becoming more aware of ourselves. We're becoming more in tune. We're becoming a little bit deeper and feeling more subtle things. And so it's going to be easier to see the spiritual eye. And I talk about it as well in my book, and you can use some of those tips. It's not essential to see it at all, but it can be nice. It's like, oh, okay, so there it is. Great. Now I know exactly where I am. It's a great archetypal road sign along the path. So now you're at the spiritual eye, or you believe that you're very close to the spiritual eye. You can begin to use the stages of sense reversal. And that takes relaxation. It takes really, really just relaxing. So how do you do that? Well, the way that I do it is I go up to the spiritual eye using pranayama, using the breath states. And then I sit there and I relax. And I feel my body, and I see if I'm experiencing any of the breath states. Because sometimes I'm actually experiencing I see if I'm experiencing one of the stages of sense reversal, because sometimes I'm experiencing one and I'm not aware of it. I wasn't paying attention enough, and so I missed it. And I'll suddenly look at what I'm feeling, and I'll notice, oh yeah, I'm starting to feel one of the stages of sense reversal. And then I'll concentrate on that, and I'll become more aware of it, and I'll allow my body to relax deeper. I'll allow my mind to relax deeper. So there's a physical, there's a mental, and there's even a metaphysical relaxation that needs to take place in order to go deeper and deeper into the stages of sense reversal. And you can use the stages of sense reversal as a map as to how deep you're really letting go, how deep you're really relaxing. Because as you really, so you're already in the right place, right? You've practiced the breath states and you're in the right place, right? You did that work. Now the second part is really relaxing and tracking your progress with really relaxing with the stages of sense reversal list. Okay? And that will get you as deep as you want to go in meditation. That will get you all the way. That list will transfer you all the way into pratyahara. And that, my friend, is an extremely, extremely deep place. And you'll be a yogi king when you get there, okay? So you see it, okay? We're following the Eightfold Path by practicing pranayama, by practicing a goal of getting into pratyahara, interiorization. By doing all these things, we are following the Eightfold Path. And then we use the breath states in order to get to the spiritual eye. And then once we're at the spiritual eye, we'll use the stages of sense reversal to go all the way into pratyahara. And once you're there, it's pretty plain what we need to do. We need to concentrate on the light in the spine again, without the body consciousness. And we begin to merge with that light. And that is the samadhi. And that is all that we have to go with. Well, there's more, but that's the essential Eightfold Path, right? And then you just repeat that over and over and over again. But even just the stages of sense reversal, even just the first stage of sense reversal is very, very blissful. So you could sit there in meditation for as long as you want, experiencing that first stage, and you will have a very blissful meditation. So it's really wonderful. And I really like your question. I really like how you're contemplating. Okay, I've got this great tool, but now it's kind of it's agitating me a little bit, right? But here's the thing: it has given you hope in a place where maybe you didn't have hope before. It has given you power. It has given you, desire. It has given you hunger. And this is the really neat thing about yoga, is that we're not lackadaisical. We're not just sitting in an armchair snoring to death, right? Yoga gives us something to do finally, right? I have questions. I have desires. I have spiritual desires. I have things that I want to know. I have things that I want to learn about myself, about my soul. I have these deep burning questions. I want answers. Well, yoga says, hey, you can do stuff. You can find it. Go out there and find them. So it's a really neat path in that way, right? But we will come up against a wall where we have to turn that, like I mentioned in my book, we have to turn that desire into a desireless desire. And that sounds like a trick, I know. And I wish that there was a really great way that I could explain it, except that you have to figure that out. I don't know a better way to explain it, and I've thought about it a lot. And here's the metaphor that I use. This universe was created by spirit. Well, spirit had no desire because it's spirit. So why did spirit do it? It'd have to have a desireless desire, right? it had to have something, a wish even, in order to want to create something, right? So you could say that this universe that we're sitting in here and playing in was created out of desireless desire. And it's that kind of a desire that we need to eventually become in order to really float our awareness through the spiritual eye. Like I mentioned in my book, I came up, like you, Tony, I came up to the spiritual eye and I said, okay, great, I see it. I'm listening to the Om right now. I'm looking at the spiritual eye. Now what? In fact, I heard a story that one of the old monks, Brother Triananda, had the same question. I see the light. He was French. I see the light. I hear the Om. I hear the Om. So what? Right? So that's I don't know if it's true, but I heard that was a quote from Brother Triananda. I see the light. I hear the Om. So what? Talking about this deep spiritual experience, and I felt the same way. I was like, well, okay, I see it, I hear it. Now what? So what? Okay, what's next? I want to go through. I want to go into Pratyahara. So, great question. You're in good company, apparently. Well, both of us are. Both of us have been in good company. So, the answer is the stages of sense reversal, and this power of letting go, this skill of letting go. It's a deep skill, and it's one of the biggest things. And this is why, Tony, I think it was you that asked the question about Hong Sa, right? You notice that I can just control my breath, and I become peaceful more quickly. But it's not the peace you're looking for. It's not the skill that you're looking for. Hong Sa is designed to give us this ability to let go, and we have to do that by watching the breath, however fast or slow it wants to go, and not controlling it with force. Because you can't control yourself going through the spiritual eye with force. You need a new skill. And Hong Sa is teaching you that skill by teaching you to just sit back and watch and not control. So now you see the pieces coming together, Tony. You see the pieces coming together. The skill that you're looking for is hidden inside the Hong Sa technique, right? The ability to sit back and let go. So yes, have desire, have passion, have, hey, if you got that feeling, I gotta have more, that's okay, that's great, that's wonderful. And let it become so strong and so deep that somehow it turns into, you let go. It's like Yogananda had a metaphor as well. He said you're like a pilot in a plane. We come back. He kept coming back to these plane metaphors. It's like you're a pilot in a plane, and you're trying to get over this mountain, and you don't. The plane is too heavy, and so finally, the pilot starts throwing, his cargo out until there's nothing, just him and the plane, and finally he makes it up over the mountain. And it's that kind of desperate hunger that will lead you to let go more and more, to just throw things out until there's nothing but just you in this bare, naked, just, radically hungry, desireless desire. It will drive you. It will push you to let go in deeper and deeper ways. And you'll find it. You'll figure it out. And I've helped you by giving you these maps and the system of maps that I found through my own hunger and my own questions. And so hopefully this makes it easier for you in your experience. Use that list. Use the stages of sense reversal for your next set of questions. Congratulations. You're the first person to come back to me and tell me I've been using the breath states consistently and feeling them. So awesome, Tony. I'm so proud of you, and congratulations. You're doing great. You're right where you need to be. And so just relax and allow yourself to let go. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Send me more questions. I love them. God bless.